Hello class, I decided I'm going to start this meeting. It is after 6 and well, if anyone comes in, that's great. Otherwise, I will record the information I was planning on sharing with you. It was a question and answer session, but I thought I'd go a few more things. The first thing I wanted to tell you is, again, my name is Diane Lebanowski. I've seen many of you in previous classes. I really like this course. What I like about this course is it takes your med-surg background, and I think it takes it to another level. I think it helps with critical thinking skills. It puts you in situations that you will deal with as an RN, especially on the discussion board and in your assignments. So I hope you'll find this class interesting. A little bit about how you will be graded. I do have 3 other classes. So I have 2 sections of NUR322 and 2 sections of pharmacology. So please be aware that I will not get all the papers, discussions graded by Monday evening. I do start early Monday morning, but it is not possible usually to get everything done in one day. It will be done by Wednesday night, hopefully before that, but that is the deadline that I'm required to have it done, and it will be done by that time. Your assignments are all due on Sunday, but your top 10 concepts are due by Friday at 11:59 p.m. So please get those in by that time. You may submit them Saturday or Sunday, but you will get the 10% or 20% grade reduction at that time. The discussion board, I will go back to after I go through this assignment so I can bring it up on the screen. There's certain things I like to see on the discussion board, and I will point that out. Next week, you do have an assignment. It is studying a community and what is available in that community. And the big key word here is community. It's not studying a hospital. It's studying an actual community where you live, where you might want to live. People have looked all over the United States, or it can be where you live or outside of where you live. It doesn't matter. But what you're looking at is, first of all, looking at that community in the introduction, and tell me a little bit about it in that first paragraph. What's that community look like? What's the population? What are the demographics? Basically, what is the age? There are some communities where the mean age is 20, and then there are others where the age varies and could be 40 or 60. So tell me about that. What do people do in that community? Is it white collar, blue collar, farming community? What kind of activities do people do for entertainment, hobbies, those kinds of things? So give me a little overview of the community. Then you're going on to discuss what complex care units are available. So if you're in Salt Lake City, that has pretty nice availability for any kind of complex care unit. But if you're not, what do you have in your community? And then it's important to know where you can go get that service if it's not available to you. What is the technology? Many places have, we're using EHR, electronic health records. When it comes to cardiac services, many of those types of technology. Is there a hyperbaric chamber? Is there a burn unit? Is there a pediatric ICU? Those kinds of things. And what kind of technology is being used? Most of the stuff you can find on the internet. You might want to go visit a hospital and see what is available, or you might find that in your clinical setting. But again, describe that technology. Here's the part where if it's not available, where is it available and how do you get to it? Barriers to care basically could be financial, it could be distance, it could be education. What would be some barriers that the person would not be able to use the complex care units? Public awareness. How does the public find out about these services? Billboards, internet, ads on the television. what is available so that people know how to access this information. And then you summarize, basically your summary is an overview of what you've written. So in 3 to 5 pages, that does not include your title page and your reference page, so it has to be at least 5 total pages. And the 3 should be explaining your community and the resources available. Make sure that you have 2 scholarly references, Medline, and WebMD. Those I don't consider scholarly. Something that you find in nursing journals. If you go on to the LIRN, that's a good choice to find these articles, and they should be within 2 years. These articles just need to support what you're writing about. Make sure you are using APA format. If you have a problem with APA format, you can go back to the Pages tab, and there's a great overview of APA format and references. And what I look for in APA format is your running head. Usually do not take off of that, but if you include it, that's great. However, you should know how to do a title page. You should be using titles. So there's 6 different levels. I would suggest only using the first 2. When you cite, make sure you're citing appropriately. And if you're using a direct quote, you do need to include a page number, P dot, and then the page, or paragraph number. It's from a website, and that is a small PARA, and then your paragraph number. Those are some of the basic things that I do look at in your discussion and in your paperwork. These are how the points are allocated. I think a great way to write a paper is to take each one of these areas that I just talked about and make a title. And then, you know, I did this. Then I'm going to describe what's available. And then the next title could be technology, unavailable units. And that way you know you're covering everything in the rubric. So that is your assignment, which is due not this week, but next week. I'd like to talk a little bit about discussions and what I expect on the discussion board. I'm trying to get to the discussion criteria, and this is a little bit tricky here. So in the discussion rubric, which is coming up, you need to put in both posts literature and a citation. So that is, I got it from my book, and you cite it with a reference, and that's where and you should include a page number if it's a direct quote. Make sure you're not quoting more than 10 to 20%. We want to hear this in your own words, so please paraphrase. Contributing to learning is that you are answering all parts of the discussion thread or question. This past week we talked about utilizing the nursing process, and then the first discussion question ACEs. So I wanted to see that as part of the discussion. If you mentioned it or framed your question about it, that's great. And again, here's where you also relate to your fellow classmates. So, and also in this part, you want to make sure you're not quoting the whole discussion post. Etiquette, basically you're answering back in a timely manner on 2 different days and saying, hello, Diane, and then you write your post. Here, you may lose points if you don't have that page number or paragraph number in your citation if it is a direct quote. If it's not formatted correctly, I know many of you use your cell phones. Just make sure you're double checking or using a spell check, because that's where I see many errors build up, and really this doesn't give you a lot of leeway. This is only 5 points. And then again, you do need to meet your deadlines. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is you do have 3 assignments in this class, once next week, and then your last 2 big assignments are assignments 6 and 7, and they build on each other. And what I did today was I put in your announcements. Now this is just one class, but in your announcements, I already have you assigned to what you're doing for that week or those assignments. So this is this class. You have a topic that I want you to use for both week 6 and 7. So please make sure you refer to that. I put that up early because many people want to get a head start on it. So basically, that's the class. Do your discussion, do your top 10 concepts. Remember, it's not just listing your top 10 concepts, it's elaborating on what you feel is important that during this past week and how you will apply that in your nursing career. Do your quizzes. I do go over every week. I go through the quizzes to make sure that they were graded appropriately. This past week with math, sometimes if you didn't have a 0 before the period, you might not have received credit. But I do go through all those, and you will get credit for that. Get your assignments in on time, plan ahead. This is a heavy class. That's why if you can stay on top of it, get started on that assignment 6 or 7 early in these 8 weeks, that's not a bad idea. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer on email or text. Probably I prefer email over text. I do have a son with special needs who, once he gets a hold of a cell phone, texts me endlessly, and so sometimes texts do get lost. So email is probably a better way to get a hold of me. If it's an emergency, you can contact me by my cell phone, which is right here. And I look forward to meeting with you and talking to you and having a great class.